Hi there, today I'm going to show you how to make this little, I call it a crazy bird with little dangling feet. My name is Chantal and welcome to the Clay Play Studio. Let's get started. So for this project you're going to need a ball of clay. You can make a nice round smooth ball like this that can fit into the palm of your hand, so it's not too big, it's not too small. And we're going to make use of the pinching technique where we take our thumb. So if you've done some of my videos before, some of my projects, you will know the pinch pot technique. So I'm going to take my thumb and just make an indent in the middle of my ball of clay. And now, making use of my fingers in this type of motion, I'm going to softly press down and start working it around and around to make the hole bigger and bigger. Like that. What we're going to do is, if we turn it upside down, we want to create a little pinch pot holder, a reverse pinch pot for our bird. Don't do it too big or too wide, otherwise your bird it's going to fall over. Okay, so once our body is done, the next step is to make all the little pieces that we need for our bird, like the beak, the wings, and some feet. So I've pre-made some feet, you can see here, by just taking a little piece of clay, rolling a ball and making it flat like a cookie dough type of shape, like that. Not too thin, otherwise it's going to break. And then you can just cut out toes, or you can even leave it like this, and you can take just your stick to make a hole. It's very important to make holes in your feet, because this is where the pipe cleaner that is in your little bag, you see there's a pipe cleaner that's gonna stick through, so your feet will be able to dangle like that. So you can decide if you want a plain little round foot like that, or you can shape it a bit. With art, there's no right and wrong, so you can decide how you want to do it. You need two of them. Next up is the beak. My clay is now a bit dry. You can see sometimes the clay cracks a bit like that. Then you know it's not easy to work with. You can see it's a bit dry. So I always keep like a bit of water nearby. I just spritz on my hands a bit. Don't use too much water, because what happens basically to clay, if you put too much water with your clay, if you mix too much water in, it's going to basically turn into mud. So I just like spritz it a little bit just to get it nice and pliable again. Yeah, see, no cracks. Okay, so now I'm just going to take a piece of clay. I'm going to make like a little ball shape. And I'm going to decide how big I want my beak to be. So in my example here, I've got a nice medium-sized one. You can do a smaller one, you can do a bigger one. That's the nice thing about the crazy bird. You can decide how crazy you want it to be. Very important is to remember when you make a beak, there must be enough space left underneath the beak, so you can make holes for your legs to come through. Otherwise, if it's too low, it can break. Okay, so I'm just taking a piece of clay and I'm just pinching the one part out like that. And I'm going like that, just to get it nice and flat on the side that I want to attach to my pot. That's a shape like that. It's like a little triangle, a nice flat base. Okay, the last compartment is the wings. So you can take a bit more clay and we're going to roll a ball. So for the wings, you're basically going to take a piece of clay and again make a nice flat little slab, cookie shape. And I'm just going to cut it in half to create two pieces. And then you can decide how you want to shape it. I like a bit more rounded shape. As you can see, my wing shape like that. You can decide if you want it to stand up or be flatter, smaller, bigger. It's up to you. I think I'm going to do for this one, I'm going to do a bit smaller. So I'm just going to shape it a bit till I get the right shape, and you can put it next to your body to see how big it is. I'm gonna cut mine a bit smaller. And you're basically just gonna shape 2 pieces for your wings. Now that all my components are ready, I'm gonna start attaching again. When we attach 2 pieces of clay together, we use the scratch and attach method. So I'm gonna use my stick to create little scratchy marks on the flat side of my beak first. And again, remember where you place your beak to keep a space open for your legs. So I'm gonna do scratchy marks where I want to place my beak, and then you're just gonna work it in. Remember, when you work it in, you can use your stick or your finger, but it must be nice and smooth so you can't see where the one piece of clay starts and the other one ends. I like to use my stick for smaller pieces, the back of my stick, and almost roll it in a rolling motion into my clay. But if you want to use your fingers, you're welcome. So now, attaching your wings, you're going to do the same. You're going to use your stick, and you're just going to make little scratchy marks, and then scratchy marks on the other side. And you're going to take it and you're just going to put it down. And as you can see on this side, basically you just work it in very smoothly. So it's very important to attach it properly to your body. You can use again your stick to do it, or your fingers. It's up to you, but make sure all the edges on the top and the bottom is worked in like this. Here's the fun part. So in your little goodie bag, you're gonna have some feathers and some googly eyes. So I'm gonna take 2 pieces of feather in the top of my head. You can decide, maybe you want a nice tail feather or you want a top like mine. It's up to you. I'm gonna do mine on top. I'm just gonna press it in. Very important is that you're not gonna keep it in, because when you paint it, obviously your feathers are going to be full of paint. So I just press the 2 pieces in and just wiggle a bit to make holes like that. So once it's dry, I've painted it, I can just push it back in so my feathers are nice and clean. So that's the one step. So I'm happy with that. I'm just going to put my feathers aside. And now I'm just going to press in my 2 googly eyes. Go. You're welcome to add some more detail to your bird. Maybe you want to do little eyebrows or some piece of clay, whatever you want to add in. But once it's dry, we're gonna push the feathers in. You can also draw little lines on your wings like that. You can do like a little detail on your beak. But very important now is, now you've got your feet, now you need to make holes for your legs to push through. So I'm going to take the back of my stick, and when you press in the holes, be careful to not go too low. If it's too low, it's going to break through. So I always just try and keep it at a nice height, and I just wiggle it straight through like that. And you're going to wiggle a bit inside, because you want that piece of clay that's on the inside to not clog the hole. You can see there, the hole is nice and clean straight through. And then you're going to repeat it on the other side, same height, wiggle it through. Be careful not to go straight through. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And you can just take the extra pieces of clay out. You can see straight through the 2 holes. Okay, so now it's ready to stand and dry a bit. Remember, you're not going to put it in an oven or outside if it's raining. Place it like in a nice dry area, maybe in a windowsill where it gets natural light. You're going to leave it for about, depending on the weather, about 2 to 3 days. So once you know it's ready, is basically you can see the color, the difference in color. So it almost goes very light and it's rock hard like that. If you press your clay, you won't be able to make any indents, then you know it's ready. Once that's ready, you can paint and varnish after that. And in the end, when everything is done, you're gonna push in your two little feathers, and you're just gonna string through. I take the pipe cleaner and I just string it through the holes, and maybe you can ask your mom or dad to help you, and you can just tie the legs to your little crazy bird.